Hey guys, I have a special bonus episode today for all of you and especially one of my clients. And she's not the first one to ask to talk about this, how to be confident in meetings. And because there's been a few other people who asked me to coach them on this, I thought I would record a podcast specifically on how to be confident in meetings at work. So I'm going to tell you all the ways that has worked for me and my clients to generate confidence in a meeting. But before I do that, I want to set a premise in which you have to believe in order to apply this in your life. So first, number one thing is I want to say is that confidence is not something we are born with or not born with. That's just not true. I believe it is a muscle that if we practice, then we get good at being confident. And if we don't practice, then we don't feel confident. And the confidence is not an external thing. It's not something that you can get from experience. Okay, just hear me out. Even if you do feel confident after you have some experience with something, it is not because of the experience that you feel confident. You feel confident because you're allowing yourself to think something that creates confidence for you, okay? So again, it's not something that you're born with. It's not something that you can get from an external thing. And it's not something you can get from doing, okay? And confidence comes from what you are thinking, okay? So it's great news because you can generate it on demand. If you want to, if you work on it, you can do that, okay? But that requires of you to be aware of what you're thinking, of what you're telling yourself or what you're believing. A lot of times we are unconscious about what we're believing about ourselves, and all we know is that we feel super scared or shy or the opposite of confidence, which is self-doubt. Okay, so we are just really unsure of ourselves, right? All we know is that we feel that, but we don't know where it's coming from. And I'm here to tell you that it's coming from all the things that you believe about yourself. And those are sentences, words that your brain thinks either consciously or subconsciously. And those words create a feeling for you, okay? So that is the premise. You have to be bought into this in order to try it out, in order to start playing around with it in your own life. And I think it's pretty straightforward. It's really, really specific. I have heard from my clients that it's actually really practical. You can literally write down exact thoughts you're thinking and look at what the feelings they are creating for you. And so you can practically kind of be a detective of your own brain and figure out why am I feeling not confident? Oh, it's because I'm thinking this thing. Okay. So that's the main premise is your thoughts, the sentences, the words in your brain create your feeling of confidence or your feeling of self-doubt. Okay. And it is a muscle. I do believe that it's like training a muscle. The more you use it, the better you become at using it, the better you become at generating that confidence on purpose. I've done this in my own life. When I first found life coaching and became a life coach, I was not a confident person before I became a life coach. I was exact opposite of that. And as I started applying all the things that I've learned, I slowly built that muscle. I had to practice. This is actually, I should do another episode of all the crazy things I've done to do this, to create confidence for myself. But I did do that, and it is totally easy to generate once you just understand that your thought, the words in your brain, create confidence. And again, different words will create confidence for different people, right? So if I think I can do it and I believe it, then I will create confidence for myself. Whereas another person, if they say that and they don't believe it, well, of course, they're not going to feel confident. So now keep that concept in mind, right? Thoughts create your feelings. And now I'm going to tell you different sentences that have worked for my clients and myself. And when you listen to them, I want you to try them on like pieces of clothing and see how they feel. Okay, so imagine you're in your closet and you're getting ready for your meeting and you are getting dressed and you're like, ooh, how does this feel? And you put on this suit and a white blouse and you're like, oh, you know what? This is too formal. And then you change into something else that feels a little more appropriate to this meeting, right? The same idea I want you to apply to these thoughts. So imagine you're preparing for a meeting and now you're trying on different thoughts to think. And then when you try them on in your brain, that means you say them to yourself, you check, how does this thought feel? And once you try them all on, you will notice how differently they all feel, and take anyone that you think feels that generates confidence for you, take them, borrow them, use them, and repeat them often, right? If they generate confidence for you, just this great, keep using them. So again, some of them might not work for you, and so that's okay. It's because you're thinking something else underneath that thought, right? When I say I can do it, and you think, oh, I can do it, and then in your brain, you're like, yeah, right. Of course you can't do it, right? So your brain answers it, and then of course you don't feel confident, right? So, and you can always check that by how you're feeling. All right. So the first thought that creates confidence is this one is so simple. It's no-brainer, is I can do it. When you think I can do it, you feel confident. And sometimes, here's an example of, for example, pouring a glass of water. My teacher used this example. And do you feel confident that you can pour a glass of water? You don't even think about that, right? You just feel certain, 100% certain, which is confidence that you can pour a glass of water, right? So thinking that I can do it creates confidence or certainty for you. So if you apply it to a meeting, right? What comes up for you when you think I can do it in terms of going to a meeting? If you think I cannot do it, then you will feel lack of confidence. You will feel self-doubt or fear or shame, right? And that's okay, right? That's why we'll keep going. And I do invite you to come and get coaching on the thoughts that create self-doubt for you. It is going to just give you an awareness of what those thoughts are when I'm coaching you. And then you'll know, okay, oh, these are just the thoughts that I have. It's not the actual truth about me. It's just that when I'm thinking I can't do it, then I feel terrible, right? So I invite you to get coaching on that so that you can have access to the thoughts that do create self-confidence, okay? The next one I wrote down, which I love, my client actually gave me an example of that, is let's try this, or I can try this, which is an amazing loophole because when you think of trying something, you are automatically implying that you could fail, right? Because you're trying, so you're not sure of the outcome. So it gives you permission to feel confident, or at least willing to do something with the permission to fail. And a lot of times when we are not willing to fail, we are not willing to do it, whatever it is, right? If we're not willing to fail at a meeting, we're not willing to do the meeting. We're like, no, it's too dangerous. It's going to be a flop. I'm not doing it, right? But we don't have that luxury at work. We have to go to a meeting, right? So then we can say, okay, no, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try going to this meeting and think this thought. I'm going to think I can do it, or I'm going to think I can try this meeting and see how it goes, right? Again, it creates a level, and maybe not 100% of confident feeling, but a percentage of it, right? I can handle this, right? Notice how that one will feel for you. If you think you cannot handle this, you will feel scared, you will feel dread, you will feel frozen. And how do you show up at a meeting or before the meeting preparing when you think I cannot handle this? Well, you probably are struggling preparing. You're probably are running a scenario in your head about how it's going to fail. You're failing ahead of time. And you're probably going to be extremely closed off in the meeting, probably going to have a hard time listening to other people, right? You're not going to be handling it well if you believe you cannot handle this. So the opposite is, I can handle this. That makes you feel open, makes you feel, then you all of a sudden, when you believe it, even like a 10%, then you're like, oh, well, you'll start looking for evidence of how that's true. Well, I did handle this meeting last week and that went okay. Well, I can handle my part of the meeting, right? I can handle some questions, right? So all of a sudden it starts to shift for you and you start to open up. And then when you're more open, then you are going to allow yourself to be more confident in a meeting, right? You're going to be more open to saying what is true for you in the meeting, right? To doing your job. The next one I wrote down is, I'm willing to feel uncomfortable to do this. Okay? So this is a really good trick for you, not trick, but a thought for you to adopt if you feel resistance to going to a meeting and you think it's going to be terrible. Then this is a good next small step for you to try. Say, I'm just willing to feel uncomfortable and still do this. I'm not going to get too happy and confident, but I am willing to feel uncomfortable. And notice how the feeling of willing makes you feel more confident because you are addressing your discomfort. You're allowing for your discomfort. You're not resisting it. And you're saying, you know what, I'm still going to do this meeting even though I feel uncomfortable. And this is it. This is the truth for me. I feel uncomfortable and I'm going to do it. Right? I'm not going to try to pretend to be confident. I'm not going to be fake. And I'm also not going to shut down and think I cannot do this. I'm willing to do this and feel uncomfortable. That is a skill in its own. Okay. I know what I'm talking about. This is another thought that some people think and feel confident in meetings, right? How is this thought true for you? Find all the ways that, or even like 3 ways that you know what you're talking about. You don't have to know all the things that you have to know, right? But just find some evidence and see how that feels, right? The next one is, I can help them. I love this idea of switching from thinking about you to switching about them, thinking about them. When we're thinking about us, we're usually going to be suffering, okay? Because we're so concerned about us and what they think about us and whether we can do this, whether what they're gonna, if we sound smart enough, if you're confident enough. It's all about us. And that doesn't feel good because we have a human brain most of the time, unless we coach ourselves. And if we switch our brain to think about them, what can we do for them? We can help them. Whoever it is at the meeting, your boss, your colleagues, the project, whatever. If you truly are able to switch into this mode, it feels amazing. It feels like a relief from the suffering when you're thinking about yourself. And it feels, then all of a sudden you're opening up and you are having access to all of your genius ideas that can actually help them. Right? And as long as you stay in that mode, you put yourself aside, put your ego aside, and you're in it. You're in the job, you're in the project, you're in the meeting, contributing to the meeting, being confident about your ideas because you're not concerned about what they think about you. You're concerned about helping them. And giving and helping feels really good. So give yourself that gift of helping them, of giving. And I also, another one that goes along really well along with this one is they don't really care about me. This thought, they don't really care about me, allows you to really relax. Allows you to relax, because the truth is they are concerned about their own lives. All the people in the meeting, your boss, your colleagues, the clients, whoever. They are truly concerned, like, how does this meeting affect me? How do I sound in this meeting? I hope I don't sound stupid. That's what they're thinking. They're not thinking about you as much as you think. So this gives you the freedom to relax. And once you're relaxed, you will have access to feeling confident. Okay, just try it out. I love this. That's how I'm able to meet with new people and run a business. I used to be so concerned about what people think about me. I would not be willing to speak up, or, at least I couldn't even imagine saying I'm a life coach. Like, what would people think of me? And now I've practiced this long enough that I put that to the side. Like, nobody is really concerned about about me. They just want to feel better in their life. And then I feel really confident that I can help them. And I just am confident and I just help them. Notice how that's just allows you to enjoy the interaction more, which is, you can enjoy a meeting. You can really show up as you, help the heck out of them, help them, and enjoy it, and come out and be like, that was a great meeting. I think I had so many good ideas. I helped them. They're on the right track, blah, 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 right? That's available to you. Okay. Next sentence, I can do my job. I mean, that must be true on lots of levels, right? If you still have a job, if they have not fired you, and I'm saying that because you must be feeling not confident, right? So let's go back to the facts. The fact is they have not fired you. You still have a job. So they must have some confidence that you can do the job. So you can just remind yourself, like, I can do this job, right? I can do this part of my job and that part of my job. I want you to even list those things to yourself. Find the evidence for this statement. What parts of the job can you do, right? And then check with how you feel, right? And see if you can stick with this, right? And if your mind is coming back to you and saying, but, I want you to either coach yourself if you know how to do that. And if you don't, I'm going to be happy to teach you. Or you can just take it to a coach, any coach or me, who can address those objections, right? Because if they're there, it's going to be really hard for you to believe that you can do your job, okay? Next one, I love this one. A meeting is a conversation and I can have a conversation, right? How does this one feel for you? A meeting is having a conversation with people, and I can have a conversation. Like, I've had conversations before. This one I used a lot in when I first started out my business, and I would have to have consultations with new clients, and I was super nervous. I was like, I don't know how to have a consultation. I have to take them through my process and blah, 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 and coach them and overcome their objections. And I was all up in my head about it, feeling scared and really intimidated and nervous. And I'm like, oh my God, right? And then someone said to me, well, a consultation is really having a conversation, and you can do that, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. It's simply having a conversation with another person where you tell them you can help them. Boom. I released all of my tension, and I felt super confident. Then yeah, I can have a conversation. So that one really worked for me really well. I hope it can work for you. Take it and use it as you wish. Okay. Next one. This is not about me. It's about this topic project, or it's about this getting accomplished. Again, take the spotlight off of you and put it on the topic. What's the topic? What are we talking about here? Is it about the budget? Is it about the deliverables? Is it about the client? Is it about the plan? What the heck is this about? think about that, right? Does this work for you? Okay, great. Direct your mind in this direction. It really is not about you. A meeting is about getting stuff done. It's about maximizing profit, cutting down on overhead, et cetera, making clients happy and sticking to the schedule, whatever it is, right? So just remind yourself about that, right? Nobody really cares about you, so you don't have to worry about you either, okay? Next one. I've done it before, I can do it again. I'm sure you've used this one for yourself before, probably even if unconsciously or subconsciously. It's true, right? Even if you think you didn't do that well, you still did it, right? So you can kind of do this again, right? Again. And what I want to point out to you is when I tell you these sentences, notice how the level of confidence will move around. So don't think like confidence as binary, confident or not confident. Think of it as a fluctuating percentage. So from 0% to 100%, and how sometimes you're 20% confident, sometimes you're 89% confident, right? So as you try on these sentences, which direction, which percentage of confidence are you feeling? Are you feeling like 100% confident, 90%? Like I've done it before, I can do it again. If you think before it didn't go so well, you're probably going to feel not as confident, but you're probably still going to feel like 20% confident, right? So I want you to notice that. I want you to think of it as like a fluctuating, shifting scale, percentage-wise, with each sentence, and notice where it jumps to, up and down, right? Another one. They will think that was good. That might be hard for you to get to, but it's available to you, right? You can decide to believe this regardless of what they actually think. Let me say this again. You can decide to believe that they will think that was good about the meeting, regardless of what they actually think. Do you know that you can believe anything you want? Anything you want, but there's no thought police. There's no belief police. No one's going to come around and say, you are being arrested for believing this. It's not true. No one's going to even know. You can just decide to believe that because it feels good, because it serves you. It's just a belief, right? And I mean, if you don't believe the sentence, then of course it's not going to work for you. But if you can find a way to see how it's true, right? I'm sure it happened to you before where someone said, oh, that was a good meeting. And you were surprised. Well, that happened to my client and she didn't think it went well. But someone else who was at the meeting said, oh yeah, that was good. So all of a sudden you're like, what? This is not lining up with what I believe. So I'm giving you permission to believe this regardless of what they think. Okay. That's just, I wanted to mess up your brain there a little bit. Let me see what else. They won't even think of me. They're concerned with their own problems. I already talked about that. Next one. Bottom line is I'm doing it. This one might make you feel brave or willing or open. Again, it's a lot, it's moving in the direction of confidence towards confidence. It might not feel like confidence as we picture it, like super, Superman, yay, super confident. But again, if you are frozen in fear, then moving to this line is the bottom line is I'm doing it, the meeting, will get you moving in the direction of confidence, which is feeling brave or open. Okay? And this is all that matters, is that you kind of move yourself in the direction of confidence. And the better you get at that, the easier it will be for you to get to the 100% confident, right? Just by practicing it. The another one is, I just want this over with, okay? Actually, when I just said that felt a little bit impatient, but you can also say, I just want this over with, or I want this done. And you are then just willing, you can feel willing to do the meeting. Again, being willing is actually super productive. I get a lot of my work done just by practicing this thought. I'm willing to do this. I don't want to do this. This is not something that, is super easy to do. It's actually scary, but I'm willing to do this. And when I am actually truly willing to do it, I get the job done, even though I don't want to do it. And once I start, I get into it. But I want you to think the same way about meetings. If you don't want to do the meeting, you don't have to. I give you permission to not want to do it. And are you willing to do it? Sure, because you want to keep your job, right? You are going to do it, so you might as well think some thoughts that kind of make you feel open and allow more of your wisdom to come through. Allow more of you to shine in the meeting, which is true confidence is when you can just be you, right? So we're just going to be practicing that 2% at a time to get better at. Another thought that people think that and feel confident is, I'm a professional. Okay, that's available to you. Are you a professional? In what way? Tell me more. Right? Which way are you professional? Are you a professional at this certain skill at your job? Maybe you're not a professional person in meetings, like you're not a professional at conducting meetings. That's fine, but you are a master of a skill, right? Find some truth in that and see how that feels. Another thing that people think that creates confidence is, I'm qualified. They think I'm qualified to do this job, right? So that's available to you. Another thought I wrote down here, the next one is, I can do it my way. And a lot of my clients come to me and say, I cannot do it the way they want me to do it. So that when you think that thought, you will feel how? You feel completely shut down, closed off, not confident, doubtful, just frozen, right? That's not useful. Don't think that, okay? Instead, what I can offer you to think is, they hired you. Maybe it's possible that they want you to do your way. It's totally possible, right? So you can believe it anyway, even if it's not true. Because guess what? You are doing it your way, whether you like it or not, because you're you, okay? So I can do it my way. And the next one is, they want me to do it my way. That's the thought. You can't think without any permission from them. They want me to do it my way. They hired me. I'm asked to lead the meeting. I'm asked to do this in the meeting. They want me to do it my way. How do you feel when you think that? When I think that, I feel such a relief and such almost joy. Like, thank God, because that's like the only way I can do it. Thank God. Okay. So then I relax and I allow myself to come through in a meeting as me. I think I say what I think. I'm confident to say what I'm thinking. I feel confident enough that what I'm saying is good enough. Isn't that what we want? We want to come to a meeting and to say what we want to say and feel good about it, right? So just think about that, right? They want me to be me. They want me to say what it is that I have to say. I love that one. That's like my personal favorite. Again, I apply all of these thoughts in my business when I am meeting new people, new clients, when I'm marketing, when I'm anything that has to do with it. I have had to use these thoughts to build up my own confidence to run a business. I mean, can be pretty intimidating to run a business if you think you cannot do it, right? If you're thinking thoughts of self-doubt and incapability. So I know what I'm talking about. That's why I love coaching people on confidence, because I've lived it. I went from being a super shy child who nobody even knew who I was in high school for 3 years, because I was so quiet. I was not confident. I was just sitting there, barely had one best friend, and nobody else knew who I was. So I've gone from being that shy kid that nobody knows to declaring to people that I'm a life coach. Now that's gutsy and super, being super vulnerable. I had to be willing to risk people thinking all kinds of things about me when I said I'm a life coach, right? Like, what are people going to think? She thinks she's a life coach, right? That invites a lot of opinions when you declare that you're a life coach. So that's what I had to do. And I used all of these thoughts in different situations to create confidence for myself. And you can do that too for yourself anytime for any meeting. You just have to be willing to experiment, play around with your thoughts, and be willing to look at the thoughts that you already do have. Like, what are the thoughts you're thinking? Look at them. Be curious. See what they generate for you. The next one I wrote down is, they really like me. If you can believe that one, that's awesome. Then you're shining. You're a superstar, right? Like when you're meeting with your best friend, you probably don't even think this conscious thought that, they really like me, but you believe it, right? And when you believe it, then you're just are comfortable just being you, right? You don't even have to be confident because you can just say whatever and anything goes, right? So if you think that in a meeting, like my colleagues and boss really like me, then you're going to be a lot more open and you're going to be a lot more confident in speaking your opinions to them and sharing your opinions with them. And another one I wrote down is, they don't have to like me for me to do my job. So if you don't believe that they like you, that's okay. You don't have to. You don't have to have them like you for you to do your job. It's totally fine, right? Then again, this, for me, when I say this creates a feeling of openness. Like, I'm open for this to be true. Bring it. If they don't like me, I can still do my job. I can still do this meeting. It might not be as fun. I might not be super confident, but I'm still going to do it, right? I actually love saying that to my kids when they say, Mama, I don't like if they said to me, Mama, I don't like brushing teeth. I would say, you don't have to like it, but we're still doing it, right? You don't have to like, you don't have to like something to do something. And the same thing goes for them. They don't have to like you. They're just there to work with you, right? And then another one I wrote down, which I already talked about, is this is not about me. We talked about that. So it is not about you. It's about the meeting, the job. I'm here for them. I use this one a lot in my work because I am truly here for you, to share this with you, because when I learned this, it changed my life. So I'm literally here for you. And you can think the same thing for yourself in a meeting. You are there to serve a purpose for them, for the company, for your boss, for your colleagues. You're there to help them. How do you feel when you think that? I'm really curious. How do you feel? Because for me, I love feeling that I can help them. I am here to contribute. That feels really good to me. That's another thought, right? I'm here to contribute. Oh, I love that thought for a meeting, because you truly are there to contribute. Like literally, they want you there, so you would contribute your opinion or your update on your work, whatever it is, right? That should be like your mantra. I'm here to contribute. This is not about me, right? And then that takes all the pressure off of you. Nobody cares about you. They care about your contribution. Okay, next. And then I wrote down, sometimes confidence looks like being willing to suck at meetings. If you are willing to suck at a meeting, you have 1% of confidence, right? You're willing to do that. That takes some guts. That takes you being brave for you to be willing to suck at something, right? Acknowledge that. That is something. That is you moving in the direction of being confident. And in fact, that is how we build confidence, is if we're willing to feel terrible, like uncomfortable or brave, or to feel like a failure, we are practicing being confident at feeling terrible feelings, right? If you can feel any feeling, it's another definition. If you can feel any feeling, then there's really nothing you cannot handle. Even the worst meeting, even a meeting where they fire you. If you can handle the feeling of that meeting, then there's nothing that you cannot handle, right? That is true confidence. I'm helping them out by doing this meeting. That's totally available to you. How does that one feel for you? Here's how I can help here. You can even put your brain to a task. You can say, hey, brain, let's make a list of ways I'm going to help them in this meeting. And then check within yourself, how does that feel? And I want you to notice that all of these thoughts will feel different to you, just like pieces of clothing. When you're trying them on, and they will feel different to you. I'm an expert in this. This is what confident people think. They think, I'm an expert in this. This is easy. I can do this. Let's do it. Right? They just move on to the task at hand. And they believe that they're an expert. You can believe that too. And that is the last thing I want to leave you with, is that you can believe anything you want about yourself, about the meetings, and no one will be able to take that away from you. If it does take work to believe something, and I don't want you to think that it's impossible. If you don't believe it now, then you'll never believe it. Totally not true. You can build your belief. You can say, I'm open to believing this. There's all the different ways you can believe something. But you can borrow any one of these beliefs and practice them and check in with how you feel. The feeling will always tell you whether it's useful to you or not. If saying I can do this creates shame for you, then it's probably not a useful thought, right? So let me see. Yeah, so that's the other thing is, how do you know if you're being confident? Sometimes if you are not super confident, you can still see that you're improving because you are moving into feelings like willingness or open or curious or feelings of serving someone, right? Helping someone. Those are all, I believe, fall on the scale of confidence. Maybe not super confident, but they still fall in that confidence scale where you feel 20% confident, 30% confident, and so on. I hope this was helpful for you. I would love to hear if you have any questions. If this was helpful, please, I would love for you to leave a review under the podcast. This will help other people find the podcast and get help sooner. If you need any help generating more confidence in your meetings, you can sign up for a free mini session on my website. It's www.coachingnatalia.com, and you go to sign up for a free mini session. It's completely free, and we can address all the struggles you're having in meetings, and I can help you feel confident in meeting really soon. You can do that for yourself. It's a muscle. You can train it, and I am excited for you to feel confident right now after listening to this. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this bonus, and I will talk to you soon next week when I'm back with my part 4 for Stop Fighting with Your Son series. All right, bye.